And we are going to look now at an example of what hearing, seeing has an effect on our thinking, on our emotions, and at the end, on our actions. And I'm going to use here an example from the Bible, David and Goliath. And we find that in 1 Samuel 17. So when you look at there and you pick it up, you read there how the Philistines were positioned on the one hand side and the Israelites on the other side. And in between there was a valley. And now Goliath was coming up. He was approaching, he was leaving these rows of the Philistines, approaching the Israelites, and he was. You see there the description in the verses 4 to 7, how Goliath, how he was looking. So the Israelites, how he was armed, all his arms, and how he was presenting himself to the Israelites. So they were seeing this, how he was in full armor, in full power, with all this iron on around him. And then he was shouting, "Why do you come out to draw in battle? Choose a man. Choose a man and let him come down to me. So if he is able to fight with me and kill me, then we will become your servants. But if I prevail against him, then you shall become our servants." So he was really coming down from a battle between two parties, a battle between two men. Now they were hearing this. And now you see the effect you see of that somewhat later. Because we read in verse 16 that this happens for 40 days. 40 days is so critical. After 40 days, everything flies. No fly can live longer than 40 days. So the devil is compared to a fly. So if you have any battle against the devil, after 40 days it is over. That's why a 40-day fast. The Israelites were 40 years in the desert. 40 is a man of the number of man where something gets over and you're entering into another realm. So the Israelite had been exposed to this seeing and the hearing for 40 days. And now at this moment, David is coming in and he sees the man. And he sees how Israel is fleeing from them, being greatly afraid. So we, again, back in verse 16, so Saul and the Israelites, it says that they were dismayed and greatly afraid. So David was coming in and he sees this. And his question is, he has seen it. Have you not seen? That's what they tell him immediately. And he says, hey, what will be done to the man who kills the Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should taunt the armies of the living God? So you see, this is such an interesting point. The Israelites, they saw themselves, we are human, we are just man, we are weak. And now David is coming and he doesn't see them this way. He sees them as an army and not one army, armies of the living God. And that makes a big difference. So the next thing is, even though he's coming with all this empathy and with all this energy, with all this good perspective, with all his faith into the situation, he wasn't welcomed at all. He wasn't welcomed. They just tried to stop him. Who are you? who are you? Why are you coming here? What do you think that you are? But he continues. And so finally they bring them to Saul. And in verse 31, we see they're coming to Saul, and his speech and his intention is brought to Saul. And he says, a man immediately, let no man's heart feel on account of him. Your servant will go and fight with him. He was confident. I can do it, because he said, well, I have fought with the lion and with the bear in the past, and I have overcome them. I killed them, and so I will do with the Philistine. So now, when we look at that, we see David on the one side. He has a vision. He sees an uncircumcised Philistine. He is taunting the armies of the living God. The Israelites saw a giant. He was fully armored, full of a giant, bigger, taller than normal man. They saw them, they were greatly dismayed, they were afraid. Fear was upon them. They have lost any confidence that they could do it. They didn't have any man, and even though they saw David with all his faith, with all his confidence, they did not have confidence, but they allowed him to go, even though they were trying to give them the armor they have. And David recognized, I am not used to it. I want to take the armor I am used to. I will do that the way I am used to. I am doing it the way I know, the way I have been trained, the way, my way. So it is always good to know who you are and how you are going into a battle, how you do it. Don't listen to someone else. Oh, I have a good tip for you. And immediately the focus is going to a human. Immediately the focus is deviating away into a wrong direction. And I experienced that personally so often. I was on a good path, on a good way, going somewhere. I was focused, and then someone was throwing in an additional idea. Oh, you could, but why don't you do this? This could actually help and add up. And at the end, I lost focus, and I lost it all, and I had to restart over again. But David was smart enough. He recognized, no, this armor, I can't work with this. I can't walk there. So he rejected it, and he went in his own armor. And then again, now, since he had that faith, he was speaking. He was the whole time, he was speaking. He was speaking, he said first, now, you're quite familiar with this. Now he's saying, you come to me with a sword, a spear, and a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, the armies. So he didn't see one army, he saw already there are armies fighting on behalf of Israel. And what Israel is, so there was the human and the angelic, and they were fighting. So he saw that our armies, not one or the singular, several. He saw several armies. And these armies you have taunted. This day, so next declaration, he makes a declaration. This day the Lord will deliver you up into my hands. Number two. Number three now, I will strike you down and remove your, second thing, I will remove your head from you. And now I will give the dead bodies of the Philistine to the birds and to the beasts. And now why is this? That all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel, and that the assembly may know, so that even Israel comes to know about that. So he's speaking, and 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 you know what happened. So he took that stone, and the stone was coming to the forehead. And now guess what? When we are speaking in line with heaven, in line with God, in line with this, what he wants us to say, what he sees, when we are lined up, when our words are in harmony with him. So angels are mobilized, and that's what we see here, because the stone was hitting him on the forehead. And imagine if a stone is hitting here, you are supposed to fall backwards. But we read that he was falling on, Goliath was falling on his face. So the angels were really directing Goliath towards this rock, piece of rock, so that he was really falling on his face. So we see here how much hearing, seeing has an effect on thinking, on the emotions. The Israelites were fully afraid, dismayed, because they had looked the whole time at this earthly picture of the Philistine. They didn't have an inward picture of God, the Almighty. David had. He had it from his experience, but he did not see with his earthly eyes. He saw with an inner eye. He had a vision about that, what the reality was. He saw the armies of the living God, and he saw that they were defiled, that they were taunted, and he said, this cannot be. So he saw a reality that has to be changed, and in this he was totally in line with God. And when he was speaking it, God was in favor of him, and the whole issue could get settled. So we know the outcome. Goliath fell on his face. The Philistines were fleeing. Israel was behind them. The Israelites were behind them, and they killed them. And exactly how David had said it, it was coming to an end. That battle was over. And so this I just wanted to share with you here at that moment, because it is an illustration to us how mighty it is, what we think, what the images are we have in our head. So this is for today, and I love to see you in the next sessions, then in the next webinar that is coming up now, where we talk, what is the kind of vision we are supposed to have? We have here now the example, and now the next one is going to show us what is the right vision we should have, because we have seen here the enormous outcome of a right vision. See you then, this is Dorothee Burkhard. Wish you a blessed day, and bye for now.